Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we're being joined by Marki Lemons Ryhal, who is launching her first book this month. So Marki, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to launch my first book.
All right. Are you ready to get started?
Yes, I am.
All right. Question number 1. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
I would give the advice that they need to understand time management, and do they really have the time outside of what they're a subject matter expert of to write a book. It was a question I had to ask myself, so I enlisted someone to help me because I did not have the time it needed in order to be successful.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
Understanding all of the ins and outs, the different platforms, the marketing behind the book, the different aspects of a book. And even though I wanted to have a book to help in my business, I didn't necessarily want to have to know every aspect of it. So I hired someone to help me so that I could overcome those obstacles and the learning curve, because it's like having another job. And once again, you have to ask yourself, do you have the time to dedicate to that process?
Well, you made the right decision, because one of the best things you can do is hire someone who's going to serve as a guide. So was this person a coach? Was this person a publisher? Who was this person that helped you out?
So this person was a publisher. He was referred to me by my podcast host, and he told me that he would come in and help me because I know that a lot of people, they probably have wanted to author a book for years, and it was on my to-do list for years. Had I not utilized a service to help me, it still would have been on my to-do list. And so I went with a publisher because I had different goals for my book, not necessarily to make $1 million as an author, but in order to increase my speaking fees because I am an author.
Yeah, and that's the one thing a lot of people need to realize too. The book, it's more than just royalties. It's really, especially if you're going to use this to leverage your business, it's all about the back end. So it's about the speaking fees, and you're absolutely right. But before I released my second book, which is called Motivation 101, I had a seminar based on the book, and I was charging $500 a speech. And after we had that book out, became a bestseller, I was then charging $3,000. So it's amazing the difference when you can have that book and leverage it towards those speaking opportunities for the different services that you may offer. It really is a game changer. I mean, I tell everyone, if you're running a business, the number one thing that you need, besides a website, is a book, because it buys you years of credibility.
Yes, and I'm already feeling the credibility that's coming because it's more people are more engaged with me now, and so I'm pretty excited. And I even spoke with a speakers bureau, and we're talking already about increasing my fees and the value that the book will bring. One, because it'll give me something to also potentially give away if I desire.
As I'm sure you've noticed too with the speaker bureaus, one of the main things that they require to work with them is a book. So it really is an entryway to get things started.
Yes, it is. So I'm elated that I allow someone to help me instead of trying to do all things myself.
Well, now we've talked about publishing, so let's talk about the marketing side. So please share a marketing strategy that you are planning to use in your book launch that you feel is going to work well.
Well, I actually tried it out already. Last week, I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they asked me if we could give away certificates to my book. And so I told them, yes, we would give 5 away. And what I was able to do was to get more student engagement in the actual class, because they then had the opportunity to get the certificate to get the free book. And so I can see how I'll leverage it in the class. and bring even some of the content out of the book into the class, maybe some of the quotes and resources that I share, but to get more engagement in my speaking opportunities as a result with giveaways, raffles, things of that nature. And I would say last week was a big success. I actually had, I think, the most student engagement that I've received at an event, and I gave away 5 books.
So this crowd that you were speaking to, was it a school? Was it a college? What was the crowd?
So I train realtors exclusively on social media and technology. So it was the Tulsa Association of Realtors.
Nice.
And because I'm teaching the social media and technology, I want them to engage with me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever platform that I'm talking about. And in order for them to enter the raffle, I had to actually be able to go open that app and see that they had engaged, and I pulled the names based on the engagement online.
And then those had the most engagement, you gave away copies of your book as a prize?
I did, and they're waiting for the book to launch because it doesn't come out. So I have their business cards, and they received a certificate from me in order to receive a copy.
Nice. Well, speaking of books, I'd like to ask, what is your favorite book, and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
My favorite book is The One Thing, and the reason was I was, at the time, my money was funny, my energy was zapped, and I didn't have enough time to date my husband because I was trying to be all things to all people. And the one thing that I learned, or to focus on again, was that there's riches and niches, and that I needed to learn how to say no and stay focused on my core business. And so I believe that the book changed my life. And as I tell people, my money isn't funny, my energy isn't zapped, and I date my husband on a regular now because I needed to take some things off of my plate.
And for a final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote comes from the book, and it is, "Be like a postage stamp, stick to one thing until you get there."
Nice. Well, Marki, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
The best way is if they spell my name correctly, they will find me. My name is Markilemons. Marki Lemons is my username across every channel. You spell it correctly, you will find me.
Well, Marki, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thank you.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how you can be featured in our brand new Get Published business book, go to getpublishedpodcast.com.